nail-biting comebacks and mouth-watering upsets. We discuss all that tonight on Rugby on 216, brought to you by Thirsty. It's another episode of Rugby on 216, and this week I think it's the men in black. It looks like with these shirts, your guys' pants representing today, and Cooks, you're holding on to that red Thirsty cap quite tightly there, I see.
Yeah, Alex, very tightly. It is. Unfortunately, I'm losing it. But what I find strange is, it's the first time we've been in studio together for a while. The last time we were in studio was after the Grey College Paarl game, and Sput said that he was tired. It's strenuous to go from Bloem to Joburg. He's got to Wilderclover. All I know is the distance from Bloem to Joburg hasn't changed, but now all of a sudden he's here now. He's not tired anymore. I'm just saying, I don't pick and choose when I come to studio. That's all I'm saying.
He's been going with us now for 3 weeks. But it's a lovely day, isn't it? And especially in Bloemfontein. It's a good day. The sun is shining a bit brighter than the last 2 Sundays.
Well, let's get into the 3 matches that you guys picked, and we're talking about it. Grey College, Uffies, 42-37 to Grey College. 2 late tries for Uffies to make the scoreline a bit more respectable, and also props to them for not giving up. But yeah, you got all your calls right this week, Sput, and I think you'll be most happy about that one.
Yes, I'm happy about it. I'm happy for Grey College. And I'm happy for their coaching staff. They've been under pressure. They've lost twice. One was at home against Paarl, which nobody saw coming. For me, the loss away...
Cook did.
Cooks called it. Yeah,
well, nobody in Bloem, let's say, saw it coming. I think the loss away to Paarl Boys High can happen to any rugby side. Paarl Boys High is a great side, as is Paarl. So to lose against Paarl and Paarl Boys, perhaps maybe some people read a little bit too much into it, because take nothing away from Grey College. They've got a fantastic first rugby side, and they proved that on Saturday. But also take absolutely nothing away from Yvette Buller. They're a magnificent rugby side in 2025. They're well drilled, they're well coached. So it was a fantastic game of schoolboy rugby, and for pure enjoyment and the way both sides played, one of the better schoolboy games this year. Both sides threw the ball around. Both sides tried to stamp their authority with their maul, and we know how good that Uffies maul is. And for me, that was Grey College's key. Somewhere during this week, either Tiaan Liebenberg or Jannie Geldenhuys or somebody saw something that they could counter that maul with, because nobody else in South Africa has seen that. And they did counter that maul, and they did stop the maul. Uffies never scored a maul try. And the other A sides on the day all scored maul tries. Jaco Koch is a master at the driving maul. So for me, one of the keys to that victory for Grey College was stopping that maul.
I was just having a look at our rack of old school jerseys here. I see the Uffies one's missing today, Spot.
Oh, that's there. It's there. No, wait.
There we go.
There we go.
What I was worried, I thought you might have left it in Bloemfontein.
I thought you'd left it in Bloem, to be honest.
Losing against Grey College at Grey College doesn't deserve for your jersey to be taken away. It happens.
It happens.
It looks like it's been worn a lot, but just not this weekend. Let's go to our next one then that you both got right. Selborne Dale, 15 points to 13. It was pretty much like a test match. Only one try, and that was scored by Dale. So Selborne winning entirely on penalties.
Tough proper border derby. both sides desperate for a win. I mean, both of them having lost to Queens recently. So you're going into that game probably thinking, like, it was hard to sort of find a favourite. I think obviously Selborne at home was probably, that's why we went with Selborne. But I mean, 15-13, a very, very tight match. I think with Dale, the frustrating thing for them is their chances, big chances to score, chances for them to sort of, especially at the end, to go away and get the win. And unfortunately, their discipline let them down because they only lost with penalties. But for Selborne, you talk about in sunny skies in Bloem, sunny skies in East London. For them, it hasn't been the start of the season they've wanted, but to finally get one, to get a win over Dale. I mean, for them in Selborne, those are the big ones, the Dale and Queens. Those are the ones that you want to win. They've got a tough stretch now. I mean, they've got St Andrews coming up, and then they play against Spootsel guys, Great College. So this will definitely boost their morale now going up for the next 2 games, which will be very, very tough.
Talking about St Andrews, you also mentioned Queens. They played this weekend, and that was taken by Queens 38 points to 17, which I think makes that Queens Grey High match coming later this season on the Rec is going to be maybe the match of the Eastern Cape.
And we said that, eh? We've been saying that for a couple of weeks. You said St Andrews might spoil that party and take over Queens' role, but Queens has now beaten Dale. They've beaten Selborne.
Went down to Grahamstown.
They went down to Grahamstown, got a big W. So, border sorted.
Yeah.
The others are pretenders, to the throne. Here you go. Eastern Cape, border region, Queens is your side.
Absolutely. And you both got it right, so that's nice. And then the last one, which you also both got right, and you did say it was going to be as close as it was. Paarl Boys managing to win against Boland Landbou.
So Boland Landbou led 36-14 with 17 minutes to go. And I don't know why, but the Stellenbosch boytjies, they don't like going to farms. They don't like going to farms,
But big character test as well. I mean, 36-14 in the 56th minute of the game. If you're a Boland Landbou supporter, you're probably thinking, Queens mode against Paarl Boys. But I mean, massive win for them. I think, to come back from that just shows the character of that side, especially having to, after going down the week before to Paarl, finding the ways to pick themselves up in the middle of a game when things were going terribly wrong, staring at losing 2 games in a row. I mean, that's a great win at the farm to come back from basically from the brink of it. I mean, from nowhere.
Season defining, it might prove to be, because exactly what you say, if you lose 2 in a row, alarm bells. All of a sudden, last year I was unbeaten, now I lose 2 in a row. Affies gave these guys a bit of a hiding. But hats off to Boland Landbou. Serious hats off. How you turn it around so quickly from Absa Villa Clave to not playing good rugby, to come and on your home paddock nearly overturn Paarl Boys. And in fact, maybe they should have.
I know you want to talk about them all. We'll get to it in the Ask the Ref segment, so stick around for that. I
want to ask about it.
Yes, you can ask about it. So we'll talk about that later on in the show. But then let's see what those 3 results do to the stats. So these were the stats as they were last week. Sput, you were sitting on 18 out of 23, Cook 16 out of 23, percentage 78-70. And there's been a bit of a shift. Sput, you've gone up, Cooks, you've gone down a little bit. So the gap's widening again. And with 3 out of 3 versus 2 out of 3, it means that the red jersey cap has to be handed over to Sput, as he got most picks right this week.
Look, Cooks's head obviously grew in the time he had it, because it's way too big for me now. Just want to mention, 81% is a percentage I never saw at school. Never. It was always beyond. So at 81%, I'm feeling very happy.
I need to get back to 70. I mean, otherwise, my job might be taken here.
Yeah. So you see, Cooks's percentage is more or less where I was at school. I was a high 60s guy. Always felt that if you sort of get 75 plus at school, you're neglecting your sport and your mates. And so to stay balanced, high 60s will get you into university, and you can do your sport.
Okay, well, that's how we're looking at the moment. We'll make our picks later on. If we look at some more of the matches that happened down in the Western Cape, Paarl Boys played Wynberg at Wynberg. And it looks like Wynberg's had their number the past couple of years, because this one, Paarl Boys did win 32-26, but like Paarl Boys, only right at the end of the match. And if you consider what Paarl Boys did to Rondebosch a couple of weeks ago, and this is a much, 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 much closer result.
I mean, Honestly, it just shows how tight schoolboy rugby is at the moment. And I'm sure everyone, the outer circle probably thinking, oh no, Paarl Boys is a bit of a cruise mode thing, but you can't underestimate those Southern Suburb schools. Wynberg as well, probably sneaking under the radar. Great performance. They were leading most of that game. And then the character, obviously, and the class of Paarl Boys came through and sort of found a way to go ahead and then close the game out, especially down there at Wynberg. But it just shows that there are no easy games anymore. Because I'm sure everyone probably looking, okay, Paarl Boys, when's the next big game? When's the next one? And then if you sleep, especially on the Western Cape, one of these sides will roll you over.
Oh, we just saw that with Bulamdampo as well. You know, they can be 60, 70 point turnarounds in these matches these days. So I do think, for Paarl Boys Eye, a bit of post-great college blues. You know, your match after a big win, after a win against one of the top 2 or 3 or 4 sides in South Africa, is always a potential banana peel. Because how do you get yourself up? That's the big question. A lot of times you then arrive there and see the win as an automatic. I have to win because I beat Grey College last weekend. Not saying that's what Boys Eye thought, because Sean Erasmus is way too wise to think that. But it is an automatic reaction sometimes coming off a massive win to just be slightly below par for 50 minutes of that match.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what happened. And kudos to Wynberg for exploiting that. They are a quality side. They've proven that this year, and a great performance by them. But Boys Eye, once again, like Paul Roos, another tick.
What that result also, I think, shows me, in conjunction with Rondebosch beating Sachs by 40 points to 17, is that maybe Wynberg-Rondebosch is going to be the match of the Southern Suburbs, or the fixture of the Southern Suburbs this year, because Bishops also played. They lost to Stellenberg, 38 points to 13, and now there's some really cool firsts that have happened here. Stellenberg beat them on the Piley Reese, which they've never done before, so that's the first. And now Stellenberg has beaten all 4 Southern Suburbs schools before June, which they've never done before. And if you exclude Paarl Boys, Paul Roos, and Paarl Gim, only 2 other schools have ever done that. And I'd love for you guys to guess.
Only 2 other schools
have ever beaten all 4 Southern Suburbs schools in one season in the last 10 years.
Bulamdampo will be one.
Yes, Bulamdampo's one.
Besides
Milnerton.
Paul Roos,
No,
Paarl Gim,
not Milnerton.
Paarl Boys.
Although they did beat Rondebosch and Bishops last year.
Okay, so we're
One's
saying Bulamdampo is one.
Yeah, there's
and
one other.
it is another Western Cape side.
No.
Oh, it's not another
not.
Western Cape side. That's
Grey High?
Yes.
See,
See, you can keep your job.
they keep it for that percentage.
That's a good call. That's a very good call.
So that's some of the interesting stuff that's happened down in the Western Cape. Cooks, a team whose jersey you've been wearing a lot this season, King Edward, they beat Noordheuwel 23 points to 22 with a converted try after the hooter. So showing a bit of class there to come back after what's been quite a tough season start for them.
Yeah, it's been a tough season for the Reds. Just this character from that side, you know, they've found ways, you know, they get knocked down, but then they give up. You know, after what happened at North State, they bounced back against Rondebosch, and then now they had a tough one at reunion against Westfield 2 weeks ago. Now they found a way to bounce back against Newries, where, you know, probably Newries going into the game were probably favourites, especially with the way the King Edward season's gone. But again, scored at the end, scored at the death, and they need it because they got a tough one this weekend against Affie. So they need all the momentum. And I think some Benedicts this weekend, then they go to Affie's. But their season sort of has been stop-start. Hopefully now they can sort of kick on, because they still got it's still a tough road ahead of some Benedicts, which they should win. And then you've got Affie's. They still got DHS coming up. They still got the reverse finish against JP. So you're kind of hoping now that this will get the momentum going. But that's a great win over Newries.
It's amazing. This case side is an enigma to me. This King Edward the 7th School 2025 first side, because as soon as you want to write them off completely, as soon as you want to go, listen guys, it's not going to happen for you this year, they go out and they beat Noordheuwel. So Noordheuwel has fallen off a bit of a cliff, and it's happened quickly for them. But it's happened because I haven't seen such a tough start to a season fixture-wise for any side in South Africa.
No.
Noordheuwel played Grey College, Paarl Roos, Paarl Boys, Affie's. That's the 4 best rugby sides in South Africa, or 4 of the 5 best. I think they've played all the top 5, because they've played Gautfontein as well, which is 6 or 7. But they've played them all. And then last weekend came and they took a hammering at the hands of Helpmacar. Now they've lost to King Edward School. So is the legs giving up on them? Is the bodies failing them? There's a few injuries around because that fixture list was as tough as could be. And I feel for them because 3 weeks ago you would have said this is a top 10 side in South Africa because they've played everyone. And now they've got this weekend, Monas, they've got their match of the year coming up, the Krugersdorp Derby. Go to Pick and Pay, Saturday afternoon at 2, you're good. Nobody's there. All right? Nobody's there in Krugersdorp. So that's an interesting one for me.
And we'll talk about that later on when we get into our picks. What I want to just end off with then, Sharks Rugby Day happened on the Friday of last weekend. Westville beat Maritzburg College by a point, 22-21. DHS also picking up a win. Westville DHS are going to meet in their derby fixture on the weekend. So just your thoughts on those two sides.
Or Rosalie there.
Yeah.
I think we've seen it now that those are the two top sides in KZN at the moment. So
yeah. I
think for me, not only is it going to be the game of the weekend for me personally, I think it's going to be one of the biggest games of the schoolboy rugby of Canada, because I mean that's going to be massive.
I'll tell you what, Maritzburg College though, aren't they a bit like this King Edward the 7th side?
Also an enigma.
Yeah. No, because I saw the fixtures for the Sharks Rugby Day. I was like, it's a nice easy one for Westville leading into DHS. I'm sure our executive producer will be so happy with me. No, but I think you understand what I'm saying. Not an easy one, but it's a 10 or 15 point win because of the way the seasons have gone. But every now and then, this Maritzburg College side arrives and they play proper rugby like they did against Pretoria Boys Eye, away from home with that big win. So they're also a bit of an enigma, but DHS Westville is massive for so many reasons. KZN, you guys know my feeling. For me, KZN is sort of the sleeping giant, of the schoolboy game. I'm looking to get more and more and more out of there. They've got good structures. So DHS Westville, DHS the structure with Peter Engelder and the guys. Westville Zikatelisi, and the exuberance of youth and the way they play the game. So it's also a clash of styles, isn't it? So it's going to be amazing.
It is going to be fantastic, and we'll have some content from there next week as well. Final one to talk about. It split the town. RTS Middleburg, not RTS, the other one, winning 16 points to 11. What a close game.
Yeah, and I think if you go and look at that, it was always a question of will RTS Middleburg be able to control Matthew Abbey? Matthew Abbey is a class act, the Middleburg fly-off. And in the end, a fast-point ball game. Middleburg probably went in as favourites, knowing that group has always won against RTS Middleburg. The matric class of 25 has had the wood over RTS for the last few years in their age group. But RTS Middleburg is on their way back. They're on their way back. Their program suffered during COVID. They've always been, the Roy Buller has always been one of the top sides, you want to say, in Gauteng, although they're from Mpumalanga. They've won administrators' trophies. They've won the Beale Trophy. RTS Middleburg has always been a hotbed of rugby, so they're on their way back, definitely. But another win for Middleburg, so the town is green again this year. But it's another match that you'll find on SuperSport Schools during this week, being played out quite a few times. So if you haven't watched it, go and watch it. It's a very special day in schoolboy rugby in South Africa.
So many pillars, but Buller, Roy Buller.
Yeah.
Jeepers.
Deep Buller. Oakdale's a Buller. But it's a Buller. That's why they play rugby.
Jeez, Carl's working overtime in South Africa schools rugby.
What's Buller in Xhosa? Nkomo. We've got to find Nkomos. We've got to find a sign.
I'm sure somewhere there'll be. At the end of this week then, Sput, you've got the red cap because you got the most picks right this week. We're going to take a quick break now. When we come back, we'll make our picks for next week, and then we'll find out who's going to be taking the red cap. Will Sput keep it, or will it go to Cooks? Those picks up next.
Bottles disappeared. Profits vanished.
It wasn't theft.
Our biggest customer became our biggest problem.
I wouldn't call it a problem.
He just likes to gooi a few with the boys.
The guys in the first team used to call him Camille.
Because he was so tall.
No, not Camille Per, Camille. He used to drink 200 liters of water in 3 minutes after practice, like a bloody camel.
Is this true, Jebben?
Yeah, most of that is true. I am thirsty.
Honey, I think the courier guy's here.
Je komt mee boksen. Kibbies? Anne? Maar waar is die Anne?
Hey, hey, hey! Ik kom niet boksen, ik kom niet boksen. Goed. Ik kom niet boksen, ik kom niet boksen.
Wow, wow! Exemos, wow! Breng van mij die box. Okay, so.
The courier guy, the courier behind the box.
Can you deliver something for me?
Where to?
Hij wees van mij, hij wees van mij. Put this one in the springs box.
Look at man. Hey, buena.
Welcome back to Rugby on 216, brought to you by Thirsty. In the last bit of the show, Sput won back the red cap for the week. In a minute, we'll do our picks to decide who's going to win it next week. But first of all, our little segment where we talk about our jerseys of the week. We pick from our growing old school collection. Rondebosch beat Sachs, and that's quite a big derby. They've won, I think, 74% of the matches that they've played. I didn't know it was that high, but yeah, they won this
Are
week.
they winning back to trust? Because
I'm back to Rondebosch.
Sort of abandoned
But he hasn't worn it yet.
Yeah.
But he's slowly but surely.
I've worn it so much.
He's what you call a fair weather fan.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
When the sun is shining, he's the fan. When,
We'll see. After this weekend, maybe you put it on.
if his old school loses, then he's a UCT fella. You know what I'm saying? So he's got all the bases. He takes the safe option.
They won. They won this week.
well done.
40 points to 17.
And it's a good
Sachs is a good one.
It's a good one because it's also they've had a tough period and it's a good one. I'm really glad for them.
Talk to me about your jerseys.
I got the comeback kings. Down, had to do a job at Weinberg, came back, so going with Paarl Boys. And also, and Spurs been too happy in the last segment. I need to bring him down to earth as well. Just remind him that, listen, just breathe, please.
It is a very nice jersey. A very nice jersey. I've gone for the SuperSport schools one. Just to give a shout out to SuperSport schools and the way that they are portraying schoolboy rugby and schoolboy sport and girls sport and school sport for that matter. And also there's a resemblance to Grey College. So the Grey College jersey wasn't available. So there's two reasons, but what an amazing job SuperSport Schools is doing of just highlighting.
And I think especially last week with the chaotic weather in the Western Cape.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, and I don't think crews and people get enough credit for the hard work they do. There's so many fixtures on the app and these days on TV and stuff. So yeah, with pride do I wear the SuperSport Schools old school jersey.
Nice. Well, those are the old school jerseys, our picks of the week. We'll see what happens next week. Let's talk about then some of the big matches that are coming up. And specifically, I'm going to get your picks. You were moaning that you only got to make 3 picks last week, and so getting one wrong, it's then quite impactful. So I'm going to get you to make 5 picks.
Yeah, I could go to 50%.
I mean, I saw the games that he wants to speak. One can easily get 0 out of 5 here.
It hasn't happened yet.
I'll find myself
at 50%.
It's a possibility to get all of these wrong.
There's a possibility also for Cooks to get them all right.
For sure. But I mean, the chances of one of us getting all 5 right this week, I'd say is the slimmest that it has been.
I also don't think you guys in an individual week have got less than 66%. So...
There's a real chance.
You've done well. Okay, so we're saying this. If there ever was a week, this could be it.
This could be it.
Let's start then with the derby in KZN, DHS Westville.
You see, you see what I say.
That is so tough, you know.
Zekateno Siaya.
No, I mean, listen, I think, listen, I mean, that's, like we said, from my pick of the weekend, Westfield is at home. They fly, I mean, got a tough one over Maritzburg College last week, but a win nonetheless. I'm going DHS to go and win in down there.
Okay.
I know Zanny Erasmus and the guys is going to be, I might lose some friends in Dusty Noble and Zanny Erasmus in the coaching staff that are Westfield, but I think DHS is going to go there and get the job done. Close one, by a point.
Okay, by a point, he says.
By a point.
Sprit's taking a sip of water, giving himself some time to think.
Well, see, the thing is, I mentioned to Cooks earlier, I sort of feel let's just take the safe option. Let's just take the safe option for the rest of the year. Whatever Cooks picks, when he picks first, pick the same. DHS by 5.
Okay, both going DHS then at Westville. Will be an interesting one. It's not going to get easier, guys, as you've said. It's going to split Krugersdorp, Noordheuwel, Monas.
3 weeks ago, Noordheuwel by 20. Now, got no idea. Got absolutely no idea.
Which is not something you've ever said. We've done, 26 picks this season.
The thing is,
you've never said that.
Monas is Monas. And that was sort of my chat to Cooks off air today as well, when, you know, people very often and very quickly dismiss schools and say, they're going to have a terrible year. Or they're going to have it's like when Affes is traveling to Bloem, they're going to go and win there. Great College is Great College. Monas is Monas. Somewhere along the line, it will click like it clicked against Jeppe. How much belief do they currently have that it can click? Noordheuwel is due a win in that derby. You know what I was thinking? So they're sort of due a win in that derby. Will it be this weekend? Can they pick themselves up after losing against Cash? Sorry, I'm giving you my train of thoughts here. I know it means absolutely nothing to you at this stage. I'm going to skip mine and do that one last.
After all that.
Because I don't know.
Put must be waiting for me to pick. And he'll take my pick. No, he must pick.
Pick now, or you can't pick what Cooks picks.
Monas.
Okay. Monas. Monas for Sput.
It's a tough one, Sput. And you said Norris is due a win in their derby. I think that Noordheuwel bounces back. I think they'll win this weekend.
Okay. You've gone for Noordheuwel and you've gone for Monas, so you're split on that one. It's going to have an interesting impact on these statistics, that's for sure. Then, it gets even more exciting. Paarl Boys, Paul Roos.
Oh, man. I mean, I'm wearing the jersey. Man, that's going to be tough. I mean, funnily enough, both of them coming off 2 comeback wins.
Yeah.
But I think, Paarl Boys at home. I think it'll be too strong, so I'm going Paarl Boys.
Yeah. You told him not to go there last week.
Massive comeback by Paul Roos. Much bigger comeback than Boys Eye. But Boys Eye have got the belief and they've got the structure currently, and they're so good in close games traditionally. Paarl Boys at home.
Paarl Boys at home. Yeah, I think, not that I'd ever want to, but if I had to pick, that's the only game I'd be happy sort of picking, just based on the season that they've had.
But the thing is, Paul Roos does enjoy beating Paarl Boys. That's always, that's what I'm saying.
You can get 0.
You can literally get 0.
Yeah, I know. And another one then, maybe, I'm not sure if, as a Rondebosch boy, maybe this is the easier one, but Wynberg Bishops.
Wynberg.
Yeah, I would agree with you guys, based also on the season that's been. Wynberg to beat Bishops, both of you say that. Then the last one, another tricky one. Nico Milan, Malolandbo.
Nico Milan at home.
Yeah, Nico Milan at home. They've had a good season. Have only gone down to Nico and helped Mokar. So I think at home against them, it's always tough against Marlow. But I'll still go in Nico Milan at home.
If that was at Marlow, I would have had no hesitation to say Marlow. But Nico Milan, and I'm sort of I sort of almost want to go back now and say Noordheuwel, because then I'm taking a safe option. But I love that when we do disagree, and I love the way Cook's reasons about his results, and it sort of tests me to go and say, no, you know what? History sometimes is a funny thing. You know what I'm saying? And we've spoken about that game a lot of times now in the show today, and it's not because it's Great College that won it, but it's like the Great College Affies game. Affies don't win in blue. You know? Noordheuwel doesn't win the Krugersdorp Derby. And that's why I'm going to stick with Monash, although they're probably having their worst season in the last 10 years.
Well, then let's have a look at the state of play as it stands going to next week. For Westville DHS, you both said DHS. For Monash Noordheuwel, you're a split. Monash Noordheuwel, Paarl Boys, Paul Riss, both going Paarl Boys. For Wynberg Bishops, both going Wynberg. And then for Nico Milan, Marlo Landbo, both going Nico Milan. So,
and watch Bishops now beating Wynberg. What I want to say, the only one I'm sure of is Wynberg Bishops. Then watch now, Bishops bring a surprise.
And you know what? It could
possible.
happen. Yeah.
It's possible.
I wouldn't be okay, I'd be a little bit surprised, but it's not like it's impossible to happen. They did draw to Sachs. What I will say is that it looks like you can't both get 0 unless Noordheuwel Monash draw.
Yeah.
So that would be absolutely amazing if that
Imagine
happened.
one of us getting 1 out of 5 and the other one 0, because
it would seriously mess up those stats.
So, I want to mention something, Alex. I remember the first 2 weeks, it was like, I think I had 100% after 2 weeks. This is,
after almost 10 picks, you had 100%.
This is extremely difficult to do in the current state of South African schoolboy rugby. And it's kudos to the guys out there, to the coaches, to the players, to the staffs, to the schools, because you can mention 20 years a weekend where literally the result is on a knife's edge. A bounce of a ball, you know, a side really rocking up on the day can confirm the result in that match. And it's almost a humbling experience to think you know the schoolboy game. Like myself and Cooks think we do. You sort of realize, geez, the last cap, if we did this 10 years ago, easiest thing in the world, we would have 90 to 95% both at the end of the season, because there's sort of one surprise this season.
Now every week there's 5 surprises. We have comebacks. We have close games. So like you're saying, it's just such a good thing for school rugby in South Africa that it is so close.
No, it's correct. I mean, you look at last week, I mean, all the comebacks and, you know, like you look at the state of, all over South Africa, the state of schoolboy rugby, the quality and the standard, everyone is raising their game. Everyone is trying to play catch up, you know. It's a shift in power in certain provinces now, which is fantastic, because you do like in KZN, we know Mansfield College will rise again.
Yeah.
You know, down the Eastern Cape, Grey High is starting to come back again. Down the Western Cape, the Southern Suburbs schools are having a bigger say after having a great year last year. They're putting their footprint on the schoolboy rugby season. Talking about derbies looking forward to that. Wynberg game is also going to be absolute crack at those two.
Has Wynberg sort of become favourites for that?
Ooh, that's
No.
You see my question, because remember when I walked onto the first episode of this show going from the hip with the calls and thought, this is it, you know, it's so easy.
And you called Rondebosch to
for
do
another
the
Grand
Grand
Slam.
Slam.
I think that's for me. That's 1-1 written all over.
I was more worried before Saturday than I am now, because I was scared the Sachs game could go sort of either way.
I think you must be more worried now after Wynberg showing how good they are.
But after Wynberg then played Paarl Boys, I don't know how to feel, but yeah, I'm just gonna.
Yeah, I think old school just better get us a Wynberg jersey ready, because if they win, I'll be sleeping. Not because they're on the bus, because of
Oh, okay. So we're gonna see with these picks, 81% plays 69%. Spud is the holder of the red cap at the moment. The picks are locked in for next week. They've made 5 each, and we will see who goes up, who goes down, who keeps or loses the red cap. But when we come back from the break, Sput's going to be chatting to some of the Grey College guys after their win over Affies. We'll see you in a bit.
Bottles disappeared. Profits vanished.
It wasn't theft.
Our biggest customer became our biggest problem.
I wouldn't call it a problem. He just likes to gooi a few with the boys.
The guys in the first team used to call him Camille.
Because he was so tall.
No, not Camille Paarl, Camille. He used to drink 200 liters of water in 3 minutes after practice, like a bloody camel.
Is this true, Jebben?
Yeah, most of that is true. I am thirsty.
Some things you don't choose. They choose you. A name, a history, a legacy that came long before you and will last long after you're gone. It's not just about the game. It's the moments that shape you. The early mornings, the long bus rides, the chants that never fade. The friendships, the rivalries, the feeling of being part of something bigger. It's a belonging. Something you carry with you wherever you go. Because once you're a part of it, you always will be.
Sure. Sure. You sure? Sure. Sure. Sure.
Yeah, man, you sure?
Yes, I am sure. Look at this thing. It's presidential. What if we get caught, man? Nobody gets caught in South Africa, man.
That's true.
Now lift. I'm sure.
Don't just be sure. Be sure. King Price in sure. Insurance you can be sure about. Visit kingprice.co.za.
Welcome back to Rugby on 216, and we're out here on the field of Grey College, the Grey College main field. Aptly, just the main field, or the A field, no matter how you look at it. No names needed at Grey College for their main rugby field. And it is a happy occasion. After 2 losses earlier in 2025, Grey College has come back and defeated Affies in the King Price Derby series by 42 points to 37. And I'm joined out here by 3 of the Grey College heroes. Lamla Michael Flatliam Gadezi, Tian Fourie, and then the head boy of the school, Adam Nieuwoud. Adam, seker 'n bietjie van 'n verligting om vanmiddag hier te staan na wen teen Affies.
Ja nee, dis 100% 'n verligting as ek kyk het hoe die situasie by die skool was, hoe almal down was na 2 harde wedstryde wat ons nou ongelukkig verloor het. Dink ek hierdie sal bietjie lig in die gange van Grey College inbring weer vir 'n slag.
Ek is na die wedstryd met Tian Fourie gestaan en gesels. Tian, dis asof jy jou beste gehou het vir vandag. Nou, wat het vandag anders gemaak? Jy was kwaad, hè?
Ja, nee meneer, na daai 2 harde games, harde verlore teleurstellings, daar was iets in die span wat ons het genoeg gehad. Ons het besluit nie meer nie. Ons gaan nie meer terug staan nie. Vandag staan ons vir niemand terug hier. Vandag wys ons wat gebeur het, dis in die verlede. Ons is 'n nuwe span, ons is nuwe mense. Ons het gewys dat ons kan en ons is net meer as net 'n span. Ons is Grey, ons is die span van die wêreld, die land. So die ouens het hulle kant gebring en ons het weer 'n harde tyd gegaan, maar ons skyn weer elke dag, elke oggend.
Lamlam Gadezi. So whenever I open up my TikTok or my Instagram, I see those reels of Lamlam Gadezi. Yeah, Lamla, but it's not only about TikTok reels and it's not about Instagram. It's about representing your school, representing the badge, and it must be special as a grade 11 boy to be representing Grey College.
Oh yes, definitely. It's a big privilege to be able to stand on this field, play on this field with these 2 guys and the other 13 guys in there. It's really like a special thing that I've ever been encountering now. Like for me personally, I never thought I'd be standing here playing with these guys. I always thought like I'd be playing in the Cherries, but now God just gave me.
We don't worry.
Yeah, okay.
You've done well. You've done well. So for the second round of questions, what we're going to do now is Adam Nieuwoud and Tian's going to start speaking English, and then Lamlam Gadesi said he wants to try out the Afrikaans. I hope the viewers can see Tian's face. Tian, ek spot net. Adam, hoofseun van Grey College. Ek verneem vanaand is 'n ekstra spesiale aand ook. Is dit nie tyd vir die Grey Ball nie?
Ja nee, dit is vanaand bietjie Grey Ball. Ek meen, is altyd lekker om hier op die veld te wees, maar nou is dit weer bietjie mooi aantrek en was. En bietjie mooi kyk na die dames van meestal Oranje en Unisie, so ek sien uit.
Ek sien al so 'n snytjie hier op die oogbank, wat jy bol toe gaan, en ek onthou in 2003 of 2002 by die Grey Ball, het ek die middag vir die Peaches gespeel voor die Grey Ball, en ek het 'n kop in die gesig gekry. Ek het so 'n snytjie hier onder hierdie oog gehad, 'n gebreekte neus en 'n sny bo op die ander oog. Ek is toe maar nie bol toe nie. Ek het toe maar by die huis gebly. Tian, sê gou vir my, Grey Ball vanaand, jy? Hoe lyk dit?
Nee, sien baie uit, meneer. Het gaan lekker wees, bietjie rustig wees, en die mense kuier en rustig wees, en bietjie hierdie wen 4, dis 'n groot wen. Dis Affies, hulle het 'n sterk span gehad. Hulle kan hulle koppe hoog hou, en ek wil net nog een ding sê, God is koning, en sonder hom sou ons dit nie kon maak nie. Ek sê vir meneer nou, hierdie span, ons staan op God. Dis hy waar ons krag vandaan kom. Ons sou dit nie kon sonder hom doen nie. Dat kom mense ook wil sê, God is saam jou, God was saam ons vandag. Duidelik kon jy sien. Niemand het teruggestaan nie. Dis God se wil. Hy het ons krag vandag gegee, en ons is niks sonder hom nie.
Absolutely amazing words by Tian Fourie, the Grey College hooker. Lamis, take me through this. So you're a man from Cape Town originally, and now you're in the United States, or the Free State, as we call it. Having fun in Bloem, and are you do you feel there's more to come in the year that you've got left next year?
Oh yes, definitely. I'm enjoying it. So I've sort of adapted. I've kind of a Afrikaans praat, So I've been here since grade 5. It's a nice place. It's not better than Cape Town though, but definitely. But yeah, definitely next year, more to come. We're just going to keep building from this year. So yeah, definitely.
And will you be attending the Grey Ball tonight with that quick feet?
Unfortunately not. I couldn't find a date. So, yeah.
I'm sure today's Rugby on 216 will help a little bit with that. Just getting the name out there. Adam, ek wil terugkom. Ons kan grappies maak, ons kan lekker gesels, maar vat ons in daai moeilike tye in. Wat bring dit na vore? Grey College stel hoë standaarde. Grey College se oud leerders stel hoë standaarde, en ek weet julle stel hoë standaarde vir julle self. Vat my terug na daai bustrip, terug van die Paarl af, so pas jy tweede wedstryd verloor, en hoe staan nou op?
So, ons tema van die week was Back to Basics. Ek dink dat dit 'n baie groot rol gespeel in die hele stelsel in die verloop van die week op na die wedstryd toe, wat 'n groot invloed gehad het. En dan dink ek net, Grey College is die gevaarlikste as hy die underdog is. En ons was vasgedruk in 'n hoekie, en die ouens het besluit ons gaan byt, ons gaan nie wegkruip nie. En ek dink wel dan aan die span, en dankie vir die ouens wat hier op die stand was, want dit was 'n skool effort geweest, en dis wat ons opgelig het vanaand.
Ja, dit was seker een van die lekkerste goed om te sien vandag hier. Ek meen, ons kom by baie wedstryde uit, ons kom by baie velde. Maar om agter te kom dat jy is onder druk, maar om hier aan te kom en te sien, Tian, luister, hier's al die old boys nog. Hier's my ouers nog steeds. Hier's almal wat die hele jaar hard ondersteun is weer hier. Ek het nog 'n kans.
Ja, meneer, die kinders, hulle het ons, die leerders, die old boys en die ou manne, hulle het ons deurgedruk vandag. Hulle met hulle ondersteuning kon nie sonder hulle dit doen nie. En selfs my broer het daar gestaan en vir my gekyk, my pa hardloop na my toe. Dis overwhelming. Ek het in trane gebars wanneer my broer na my gehardloop het en my sommer kom tackle het. Dis soos wat hy vir my gedroom het. Hy het my gedroom om hier te staan. Al kon hy dit nie doen nie, hy het dit vir my gehoop en vir my gewens en vir my gebid en alles. En ek is oneindig dankbaar vir my pa, my ma, my ouers en veral my broer wat hy het my gedruk om my deur daai tye te druk en my ondersteuning. Hy is my rolmodel. En sonder hom kon ek nie nou hier gestaan het.
All right, Lamlam Gadesi, take us through it. Ball is kicked on you at the back. 45 meters of open space in front of you, 15 defenders. How do you scan? How do you decide where you're going? I firmly believe sometimes you're not sure where you're going.
Nah, yeah.
But how do you make that decision and how do you attack that space? So what's the thought process?
First thing is to catch the ball, obviously.
Good start.
Yeah. And then it's all a thing of we have a call called a retard. So then if they shout retard, I have to run to that guy and then he opens up. But sometimes, I don't follow the structure. So I just I look for the props. If I can find a prop, then it's easier for me because then I can beat him with my pace. So yeah, first thing I just look for the props and then the rest, it just happens.
Yeah, so it's that easy. So if I'm a backline player, I look for the prop.
Yeah.
Problem is, what if I run into the prop?
No, that it doesn't happen most of the time. Most of the time I try and beat him and then it works out sometimes. So yeah.
Okay, so it's and I loved what you said earlier, Adam. It was about getting back to basics. Knowing we can play the game, knowing Lam Gidesi can attack our spaces, knowing Darius Ervia can put our players away, knowing Ethan Adams is Ethan Adams and does what only Ethan Adams can do. So Lammies, for you as well, I love the way you say it starts with catching the ball, doesn't it? And I think that's one of the most underrated things about Lam Gidesi is he's a really good catcher of rugby ball. Jy kan maar op hom skop, Adam, hy's redelik safe, né? Have you ever had moes julle hom al duik in oefening? Kry hulle hom geduik?
Nee meneer, ons sukkel maar. Maar klein seun. Hy sukkel maar om by die soos iewers te gryp of sy hemp. Hy's te rats, hy's te vinnig. Ons kry nie veral ons forwards, ons sukkel maar kwaai om daar. Dit is maar iets wat 'n bietjie moeilik is vir hom.
Dis eintlik dood eenvoudig, moenie op hom skop nie. Ek dink dis die oplossing, moenie op hom skop nie.
Manne, ons maak lekker grappies, ons gesels lekker. Kom ons gaan gou. Wie is die beste DJ in die span? Julle gaan op toer? Adam, wie is in beheer van musiek?
Alexi Taropoulos.
Nou, okay, Alexi Taropoulos is die musiekman. Hoekom? Wat speel hy?
Kyk, hy het so 'n toep, as ek nou ordentlike Afrikaans praat, op sy foon. Waarmee hy soos 2 liedjies kan saam DJ en mix en goedjies en hy is nogals goed in dit.
Tiaan, en nou jy, as jy by die huis is, jou musiek, wat luister jy? Wat like jy?
Nee, as wat almal mense sê is ek's maar 'n all-rounder meneer. Ek hou maar van country en
Dis my man.
Afrikaans, baie mooi Afrikaans, Engels, maar rap partykeer, maar ek's groot op die Afrikaans en die country en jy's daar op baie mooi Afrikaanse liedjies wat soos die ou tyd uitgekom het.
Uit my dae, dis wat jy probeer sê.
En my pa se dae en al daai tipe goed en dan.
Gidesi, your side? What's the beat of choice at the moment?
I'm the same as Dion, to be honest. I listen to a bit of everything. So what comes to my mind that day, if I just press my playlist and whatever plays, I just jam to it. So I just sit there in the change room, put on my headsets and I just jam to anything.
All right, my final question to the three of you. First of all, enjoy the grey ball. All right, that's always a very special occasion. Lamla, enjoy not going. Chill it out.
Playing somewhere else.
All right, okay. I want to go inside the Grey College change room for 5 minutes. Not going inside. Going inside the Grey College change room. It's 5 minutes before kickoff against Uffies. You've lost twice. Backs are against the wall. Who's talking? Who's listening? And what's the feeling inside there?
So is eintlik dood eenvoudig. Zander Smit en Ethan Adams praat. Dis hoe dit werk. En as 'n mens daar instap, elke liewe dag is 'n nuwe begin. Elke liewe dag wat jy kom oefen, elke liewe dag wat jy uitdraf uit die kleedkamer uit vir 'n game is 'n nuwe begin. You don't start a new game with the mud of yesterday's game. So ek dink dit het ons baie gehelp deur hierdie week en deur vandag. En ja, weer eens wel dan aan die ouens.
Tiaan, hoe berei jy jouself voor? Want waar gaan jy in? Waar delf jy voor 'n game?
Nee meneer, ons backside coach meneer Ines en ons conditioning coach, hy sê ons altyd ons in hierdie tawwe tye van verloor en al daai goed moeilike games, tawwe games. Jy moet jouself in 'n donker plekkie gaan sit en ek dink ons almal het vandag in daai donker plekkie, ons het diep gegrou. En ons het daai plekkie gekry en ons het bietjie gewys, hoor, ons staan terug vir niemand en ek dink verder vir die jaar gaan ons vir niemand terug staan nie, soos wat ons nog nooit gedoen het. Ons het daai donker plekkie gevind en ons het reg gemaak vandag.
Any special preparations before Michael Flatley masterclass?
Not really. All I do, like, thing that I like to do, I just put all my boots out and then I just, I turn my back around and I just throw something, whichever it lands on, pick those boots for the day. And then land on the pick ones today. That's all I do.
That is absolutely amazing. I'm flabbergasted. How many boots do you have, by the way?
I've got about like 4.
4 pairs?
Yeah.
Different colors?
Yeah, different colors. I've got the pink ones, I've got the silver ones, I've got the, and then 2 other blue ones.
Look, if I were you, I would always plan the pink ones, and I'll tell you why. All right? It must be the most annoying thing to miss a tackle on a guy with pink boots, because your mates will never keep quiet about the guy in pink boots that got past you. Guys, thank you very much for joining me. Well done on today. It took a lot of character, it took a lot of determination. For your sake, I hope it is a season change around. All right, and best of luck for the rest of the season. And enjoy tonight. Enjoy the ball. Moenie te stout wees, manne.
Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, it's your boy Massive K1, August 2, S. Tumbeni. We are down here at the Fortress. It's of course the Catfish rivalry. It's of course Selborne College taking on Dell College down here at the Fortress right now. We are about to scoop in and try and get to understand what this derby day means to everyone around. What's the best memory you've had out of this derby day?
Sure. I've coached many rugby matches at primary school. I think it's always a hard-fought derby day. I think getting up in the morning, knowing that you're going to go to King Williamstown or coming here.
It's been the must-see derby. It's been like the derby of the year. Every time you look forward to going to Selborne.
What are your predictions for the first team game?
I have a feeling we're going to pull a big surprise, but tail by 7 points.
And I'm giving it to Selborne maybe 3 to 5 points.
A very big one. Big occasion, not at the graveyard, at the Fortress. Nothing comes easy.
These derbies for me has just brought in revival between the legacy of Dale and Selborne.
You can see what it means to the whole of East London. I've been got schools all over the town coming to see. But you can see what it means to the boys as well. It means it's personal. They take it to heart. If they breathe the black and white, they breathe it.
We are still here at the Fortress, and it's now the second half. The score is now 12 points to 6.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest derby days for the year for Selborne, especially at home.
So for us to win this game on our Fortress, it means the world to us and the boys.
Overall, how was the game for you today, sir?
The game was good, very close. I expected it to be a close encounter, more especially because Dale had a very close game with Queens. So I knew that today they're going to come out guns blazing. I think one moment that really caught me was, I think it was Karim Tati in the corner over there who came in the second half and obviously showed who he was and showed that he too has his hand up to start for the first team. So I think that was a special moment for everyone.
Bottles disappeared. Profits vanished.
It wasn't theft.
Our biggest customer became our biggest problem.
I wouldn't call it a problem. He just likes to gooi a few with the boys.
The guys in the first team used to call him Camille.
Because he was so tall.
No, not Camille Paarl, Camille. He used to drink 200 liters of water in 3 minutes after practice, like a bloody camel.
Is this true, Jeben?
Yeah, most of that is true. I am thirsty.
In a world where every second counts, will he make it on time? Out here on the streets, anything can happen when the odds are stacked against you. One man finds the will, the drive, the passion to steer his path to destiny. It's a Swift.
Welcome back to Rugby on 216, brought to you by Thirsty. All that we have left to do in today's show is ask the ref and play the impossible truth. I'm going to hand over to you. I'm going to call on this student.
and for no specific reason, I want you to touch on the maul again. Because we spoke about that comeback from Paarl Boys from last year. I actually, was on the phone with Andrew Strauss this morning on my way to Joburg, asking him about what he saw as commentator in that game, because I didn't watch the game live, and I heard about Paarl Boys scoring a penalty try
at the end.
And in the dying seconds, still trailing 36-33. And Alex, can you give us your opinion on the decision, and then in a broader sense, first of all, get it out there. This is not questioning the referee. A referee blows what he sees, Cooks. But if we've got the benefit of all the slow motion stuff, give us your opinion and then the rules on that.
Yeah, and you said we have all the angles, so we can look at it. So I do think unlucky for Boland Landbou. It's a very well set maul by Paarl Boys. It's travelling towards the goal line. If it's collapsed, it almost certainly is a penalty try. But actually on the side opposite the side the referee's on, the ball carrier breaks away and he gets tackled over the line, and then he's held up. And then the rest of the maul sort of goes down. But as that happens, and the referee on the other side, I also feel for him because I've obviously been in the position. He's just seeing the whole mass go down and then it's held up. And he's seen it go down before the goal line, because obviously once the ball goes over the goal line, it's no longer a maul. You can collapse it. But he's seen it go down before, and then he's seen it's held up. And in his opinion, if it hadn't gone down, try would have been scored. So he goes and awards the penalty try. But what we can see from the other side is that the ball carrier breaks away. And if he's broken away, then the maul's over. He just gets tackled, and then he's held up. So that's for me. From that angle, I don't think there's too much.
But also, Alex, it looked like if the collapse on the side, on the right hand side, it looked like the collapse happened over the goal line. So like what
that might be close.
It's close. It also depends when you start collapsing it. So you can be like bringing it down, and then you pull it over.
Meters,
but then it's still, and they actually, teams who are quite strategic, they'll sometimes try and do that, where they collapse it. They started before to make it look like they've then held it up in goal, but they actually collapsed it before it was in goal.
Position Boland Landbou got themselves into 36-14. They never should have been defending their try line for victory.
And now next week they're playing Rondebosch at Rondebosch. So luckily none of the
you guys in the same ref that
I am going to be in Durban for Westville DHS, so I will not be running touch or involved.
Have you ever imagined this man in charge of a Rondebosch boys like first team?
It hasn't happened.
It shouldn't have.
Hasn't happened.
Just write a little note to Blommy. Just saying, Bloms, this guy's a really good referee, but we can't have him running at Rondebosch.
When I'm like 45, many years' time, retired from a professional career, then maybe. But for now, I'm happy to watch and enjoy those games.
Gotta love the ambition of this young man. Professional career in what? Refereeing?
Well, not necessarily. I just said a professional career. Well, I guess I am a little bit ambitious if I think I'm going to retire at 45.
I love that.
Which is maybe a good thing if you're a sports person or involved in sport, because that's quite late. And then it's also a good thing if it's a professional career otherwise, because it's very early. But
that's why I was assuming it's from refereeing, because if you're going to retire I've got to be retiring in 5 years. Somewhere the ship's got to have to come in pretty quickly.
Impossible truth. 6 out of 8 I have. You guys bested me last week, so I'm looking to come back.
What's that percentage?
6 out of 8. It's 75, as you worked out last week.
That's
quite quickly. Showing off the Grey College maths department. Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure.
We've got to get him 6 out of 9. We've got to get a back-to-back one.
Are you going to?
I'm the forward. I'll come around the corner as always. Queen's College, the Kudus. Great win over St Andrews College this weekend down in Makanda, Grahamstown. It was their first win over St Andrews in Grahamstown since 2008.
Okay. A.B. Smith, younger brother of Franco Smith, the coach of the Glasgow Warriors, coaches Nico Milan's first side.
Honestly, put Alex logic into this one.
I want to see the Trivial Pursuit and the Pictionary and the cards. And the 30 seconds and that.
Well, my brain is thinking, surely you wouldn't have just made that up. He must be related to Nico Milan in some way, but maybe he doesn't coach the first side. So there's that. Okay, let me just think. Queens, St Andrews. Queens won quite comfortably this weekend. And I was literally flying here this morning, reading all about the history of the two. And it mentioned it, but you see, it might not have been 2008. Might have won last year. It could have been 2007. So, okay, my gut was that they're both true.
We're on a roll here. So this will now be pure luck.
Yeah, this is going to flip a coin. Sputs is true.
Yes. What do we need that one? That's back to back.
He does coach.
This is the comeback now.
He does coach, but not
the first team.
And I said it.
Yeah, and you got there. And I love it. I love he's a mild mannered oak. But when he gets something wrong, he gets super upset.
Is that we're doing our own little poor risk comeback and put it on. We just plucking away.
Because I mean, if we carry on this way, he's going to be at 50% food, and people are not going to start.
I'm now down. What am I? I'm 66% now.
We figured out the recipe now. We got to give these ones we can Trivial Pursuit your way. We need these harsh warning bang.
Can you give me a reffing one again?
Yeah.
That was nice a couple of weeks ago.
The worst thing is we're still going to get you on a referee.
Yeah. We'll get you a referee.
Then you definitely deserve it.
Yeah.
I will say, okay, so 6 from 9, 81% for the cause, 69% for the cause. We're going to see next week what's going to happen. I'm going to be at DHS Westville. A lot to look forward to. And we'll see if Sput keeps the red cap or if it goes back to Cooks. Catch you next week, Tuesday at 7. But for now, bye-bye.